Right, so finally, Nadhim Zahawi has been removed, has been sacked as Tory Party Chairman by Rishi Sunak for a breach of the ministerial code. But this isn't a sign of Sunak showing any strength, because when you dig into it, he's exposed himself for being an absolute weakling instead, and I shall explain why in a moment. But this is a finding Sunak has engineered, though. His sleaze czar, Sir Laurie Magnus, was not able to investigate the tax allegations against Zahawi until Sunak gave him permission to do so. And it's only when things finally got too tricky for Rishi that he finally acted in that way. Laurie Magnus is the first sleaze czar to require permission to investigate anything that Tory government ministers might be doing to undermine the code, undermine the government, and undermine the UK's international reputation. Not even under Boris Johnson were ethics advisors kept on such a leash. It can be argued that largely they turned a blind eye given what he did get away with, but it's because of Sunak's control freakery now that there's literally no such thing as oversight anymore for underhanded behaviour by ministers in this government. Rishi Sunak is presiding over an even more opaque and shady Tory administration now because, short of government leaks or the press actually doing their job for a change, which can't be relied upon, as we know, they could be getting away with anything, even beyond what went on under Boris Johnson. It's no surprise some Tories have said, we thought Sunak was supposed to be better than Johnson, but he's actually worse. We've seen exactly that with Nadhim Zahawi, and Sunak himself is not innocent in this affair either. Sunak was warned about Zahawi's tax affairs ahead of promoting him to be chairman of the Conservative Party, when he became our latest unelected Prime Minister, of course, and leader of the governing party of the UK. Yet he did so anyway. For him to act before now would be admitting to an error of judgment on his part that he full well knew about, despite the denials he has continually made. Not that he hasn't made plenty of errors anyway, by virtue of the fact he has no idea how ordinary people live, detached from us all, as somewhere on the rich list is bound to be. But by appointing a sleaze czar to head an investigation, despite being constrained by whatever limitations Sunak might have put on him, Sunak has got himself a scapegoat. I did a video about the sleaze czar chap the other day, Sir Laurie Magnus, and I said then that Sunak now needed somebody official to basically give him the excuse to sack Zahawi, to make it look like he's taking tough action on such things. But when the reality is that the investigation is only happening because Sunak has allowed it, it actually shows how wretched and weak Sunak really is that it's taken him this long. Sunak has up until now publicly supported Zahawi, has denied all knowledge of Zahawi's tax dealings, and that's not even getting into the legal threats Zahawi has made against others probing his tax affairs over a number of years, or the latest sleaze issue concerning the millions in unsecured loans Zahawi's wife has managed to get to keep building up a property empire. None of that, as far as we're aware, has even been considered in all of this. The only reason we had an investigation, the only reason Sunak has acted to remove Zahawi is because of the reputational damage to his government and his party that Zahawi's tax affairs scandal have caused by becoming public knowledge. If the ministerial code was taken so seriously, Suella Braverman, having resigned as Home Secretary for leaking sensitive information in her leaky Sue debacle towards the end of Liz Truss's brief stint as PM, wouldn't have been put straight back in the role by Sunak at the same time he appointed Zahawi. Ministerial code be damned. He needed the hard right of his own party, the ERG, on side to prop up his own position, and so Braverman was straight back in. If the ministerial code meant anything, you'd imagine with 24 allegations of bullying made against his Justice Secretary Dominic Raab, that he would at least be suspended right now. But he isn't. He's still in the post. This isn't cleaning up politics. This is damage limitation, and doing the bare minimum at that. Zahawi has gone for breaching the ministerial code, the breach being that he did not inform his party that he was under investigation by HMRC. He hasn't gone for improperly declaring his tax. That doesn't matter. This is the Tory party after all. That's probably a badge of honour. Instead, he's gone because he got caught. That's what it took for him to be sacked. If Sunak had a spine, he could have dealt with all of this before now, before other allegations came out, before more damage was done. He might have earned more respect and been seen as being a bit stronger for sacking him for tax irregularities, but instead, he buried his head in the sand, hid away from it, and it's only when the issue has dragged him out kicking and screaming from his hidey hole that he's been forced to act by deploying his sleaze czar to do the job for him, and he found the limpest possible reason in the end to justify the sacking. Though, of course, that might be as much as Sunak allowed him to find. Sunak's weakness to act in a timely and honourable manner and with integrity and accountability, all those claims he made upon becoming PM, will now shine a light on all the other ministers with something to hide that he's still protecting, still keeping in their roles. Make people wonder what else Sunak knows that he's hiding from acting upon. And of course, not least, people will now turn to the issues relating to people like Dominic Raab, like Suella Braverman, like Sunak himself even, still with questions floating around about his wife's non-dom status, her income from family firm Infosys, and whether they're still trading in Russia. But functionally, everything the Tories, everything Sunak, everything every other minister has said in defence of Nadhim Zahawi in recent weeks and months has been shown up as a sham, as lies, however you reflect upon it. And the only thing you can be sure about at the end of this is that this government is no more honest for Zahawi going than it was before. Nadhim Zahawi will, of course, remain an MP. That doesn't seem right, and frankly, that needs to change as well. The issue of criminality is also one that still needs to be settled, and if charges ever get brought against him, Sunak will look all the worse again for not dealing with this properly when he had the chance, by never promoting Zahawi to begin with.